Yo, music has lost its edge, bruh. It's lost its edge. I finally realized why, one, all of the greats of our past were extremely talented at music. And the reason why, because that was the only standard. Like, what else their standard could you have? Oh, money. You need to have money. Okay, well, what if they have more money than me and they don't like my music? Can they use their money to stop me? What if I'm talented? I don't have as much money as you. Well, shoot, 2025, right? But let's rewind before we get back to that state. Because I'm medsing this. I'm medsing it from a POV like there was all this footage of the greats, of all of our greats. You know, Aretha Franklin, Diana Ross, Ella Fitzgerald, whoever, like Ray Charles, Elvis, like whoever you want to talk to, mention, whoever you want to mention. Even if you're not going to the top Billboard charting ones and you go to the lesser known, you go to the guys who were bench warmers on these labels, because Def Jam and Motown and whatever, all these labels, and there were a bunch of defunct labels. Oh my gosh, Mercury Records, all these, there was, bro, there was probably a record label for every brand you could think of. And then, over the years, the larger labels bought the smaller ones, or they would join forces, get, all kinds of transfers of wealth was happening to you. We only have major three: Sony, Warner, Universal, right? But kind of went on a tangent there. I was talking about the fact that all of our greats, you could look at footage of them either watching, these are the specific moments, either watching a tribute, right? So they're watching their own songs being performed to them, or they're just at an award ceremony and they're watching like a new artist perform, or whatever the case may be. But anytime music is not being performed live properly, they would make up their face, or their face would show disgust. Even if they would hide it with a poker face, even if it was melded with a face of appreciation, or if it was melded with a face of gratitude, or a face of nice, right? Because MJ, there's footage of MJ listening to people singing tributes to him, right? And he's making up his face certain ways. Ray Charles, like I said, Aretha Franklin, Patti LaBelle, like all of them, all of them. And the only people I really only see kind of like doing that now is like Beyonce. Like you could see footage of like Beyonce at an event or a concert or something, and someone else is singing, and the camera will cut to her, and you'll see her face like doing the like, oh, oh dear, if you only knew, kind of like vibe, right? That used to be like a thing that everybody in the music game was doing actually. It wasn't just like, the few heads. Everybody. If you were to walk into a church, a black church, or let's say my church to be exact, and someone was singing badly, like they had the mic and they were on stage singing badly, there would be some people still standing, raising their hands and clapping and going along with it. But a good majority of people in my church, including the musicians and probably even the pastor himself, but for sure the pastor's wife, for sure the musicians, for sure the sound men at the back in the soundboard, for sure the choir if they're on stage, and for sure the young people, all the young people are making faces, cracking up, or straight up laughing, or hiding their face. They're reacting visually to what they're hearing. Because there's just a general common sense for musicality. There's a common sense for musicality. And it's starting to disappear. It's starting to disappear. Like, I should not be the person saying this because I make so much music that is in the category of not trying to be high standards. Like, it's just trying to be a vibe. It's just trying to be, turn up. It's just trying to be crunk. It's just trying to be, ignorant. I made that. But I make it like as a troll. It's like I'm trolling myself. It's like, yeah, like that's a thing, but it's not like the real thing. But it's like, okay, it could be a thing. Like we're on this wave. Ultimately, it's the stuff I went to school for. The stuff that I have to break my brain. When I take a piece of sheet music and I have to be like, and like think about, oh wait, okay, that's a C E E D E F C A, you know what I mean? And literally figure out note by note and think about it. Or, okay, even if I figure it out because it's simple, it's being played very fast. So that melody, I figured it out slow, but now I have to speed it up. So it might be dun 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 dun, but really it's da 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 da. Right? So the rate at which simplicity is being applied is also a higher approach to music, and all these things that is like not being, well, first thing, I don't even want to explain that, but like, because I was going to go into the whole thing of songwriter versus producer versus the terminology versus the role versus beat makers and songwriters, lyric writers, melody writers, music writers, and how all these terms kind of, but like, it's not necessary. The whole point is you would be somebody considered, what's the best way to say this, man? You could have pride knowing that you're a part of the club because your ears that God gave you have evolved enough to hear the patterns that everyone in the club is hearing. Right? The club loses value when people can join it, rise to the top of it, even have a voice to say others aren't allowed to be in the club, and they don't even fit the basic criteria of what the club was built on. Okay, we're expanding, breaking down barriers, this, that, to help more people on board. Like, and just all this stuff. Like, but when you lose the actual essence of what created the niche for this demographic, it's like, what's the point? If the whole idea is we understand sound modulates and vibrates, and we appreciate those who understand the mathematics of that and can apply those mathematics in real time with progressions, chord progressions, melodies, singing, understanding, staying in tune and pitch. I'm not saying that world is not valued, but it is. But the way I see the average person who's actually talented at music and the way they move in terms of trying to eat always looks so desperate. It looks so des. And the forefathers and foremothers were not moving desperate. They were moving regal. Like, if you can actually do the art form at a high level and you not on, can you have some self-respect, please? If you can actually do this thing and there's others around you in the sport who can't do it as good as you, can you start acting like you're better than them, please? Please. I don't care if they have more money than you. I don't care if they have more music out. They have their thing, their branding put together. They have a management. They're on tour already. If you're bar for bar or pound for pound, literally more talented at music than them, can you act like it? Like, can that be a thing we start doing again? Like, I don't care how much money you have. You can't sing as good as me. Or I don't care how much streams you have. You can't cook a beat. You can't mix yourself. You can't play the piano. You can't play the trumpet. You can't hold a note. Or you barely hold a note. Or you can't riff. Where is that side of music, man? Why is all the conversation in music right now? This person has this many sales. This person has this many trophies. Fuck that shit. You can't sing. You can't hold your vibratos. You hold your vibrato for only 5 seconds. I could hold it for 15. I could hold it for 25. She can sing 5 octaves. He could, like, where's that side? Even for rap, he can rap this many words per minute. She can freestyle this many bars before messing up. Like, where's the pride to the actual craft? Like, I'm not saying it needs to take front stage, but I'm tired of it sitting in the back being some, like, we don't really need it to, like, we don't really need to, like, because I fall into the trap too when I start moving like the labels, only caring about metrics and things, when the labels were based on finding talent and hoisting them up. And they just switched out a 1-2 executives, new executives with new goals and new mentality, new focus and shift, and no background, real background in music. So these guys start pushing for those type of goals. They start making the whole industry be focused on metrics. And the game now sucks. The top of top people can be made fun of. The top of top people, I can sit down and give the Beyonce faces to the Beyoncés. Not Beyonce literally, but to Tyler or whoever is the new Rihanna's, like, you can be like, I'm not impressed. You can have more chops and not be the top of your class than the entertainers, than the class of entertainers that they have in front of us to represent music, the mathematical application of frequency. And that to me is ridiculous. Like, that to me is ridiculous. That to me is nuts. Okay? It'd be one thing if, like, oh, just me. Like, I, Maxwell, Trill G, can sit here and look down on the entire music industry. Cool. Like, cool. Like, you guys be like, well, you're in the game too. You just have your own taste and da da da. You're trained. You've gone to School of Arts. You're classically trained, jazz trained, gospel trained. Cool, man. You can move bougie about your taste in music. You have the background and the chops to think that way. But bruh, like, there's people who don't have my chops, who ain't done studying music like me and all that. Who can they themselves feel the exact same way I do about the art coming out to represent music? And crazy thing is, like, music is not a word created in its etymology to mean like frequency art, the art of, and I'm saying frequency art, but frequency has to do with everything. Every light is the frequency of light, of electrons or photons, whatever. Like, everything has a frequency. Everything is frequenting at a certain rate. But the when I say frequency, as in sonic frequency, as like the idea that everything that moves makes sound. Like you can't hear that, but it's still making a sound. Okay, it's inaudible to our ears, but it's making sound. Everything that vibrates, every move, light makes a sound. Light creates heat, all right, and light creates sound. Anything that's creating heat is also creating sound. Sound creates heat. Sound also creates light. They're all interconnected. So now you kind of can understand why I can get so deep about music sometimes. But before I lose my point, and I hate even saying that sentence because it sometimes contributes to it. But the point is, you can feel bougie. That wasn't the point. No, these folks who ain't studied on these areas on the art form can still feel bougie and be like, what is that? What is sexy red? What is, and fair enough, it's sexy red or Ice Spice, or like Giveon, he sings, but he's not that like he's not no Stevie Wonder or whatever, like because the game lost that edge. It lost its edge to try and be bougie for high taste in music, regardless of what it is and what it was and who it was. Because now, like, when I listen to the people who are saying technically, like, there's this guy, I don't remember his name right now off top, but MJ potentially copied his sound. Okay. When I go and listen to his music, he sound good. He sound really good, but not as good as MJ. You could tell that, okay, if MJ copied this man, he did a good job. He copied it and refined it. Because that dude had like off notes here, off notes there, and vocal, a weak vocal here, a weak vocal there. While all Michael's vocals were purely top level. No weak vocal, no weak takes. You could tell like MJ really took time to produce his vocals, to make sure the energy was maintained in every line. Like people take that for granted until you hear the MJ clone, until you hear the MJ sound alike. I don't remember his name, or I'll just say it here so you can go check him out. But you would hear immediately, like, damn, that's MJ clone, or 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 MJ's the clone of this guy. But clearly MJ's the better version, and that's what's missing. Like that's what's missing, because there used to be underground. There was always like this underground scene, like amateur music creators, people who say, you know what, I don't need to sign to a label, I don't need to work with this management or this major producer to do my thing. And they would do their thing. And if they were artisans of it, you could hear the skill level, but you could tell, oh, this is not mainstream because it's not really worked. It wasn't, like re-recorded to make sure those last phrases were well pronounced, or just whatever. Like we take those things for granted. We do take those things for granted because the manager or A&R or executive, they're always saying, recut the record, send it to the studio, and let's recut the vocals. Let's recut the lead vocals. Like that's a thing. Like, oh, this song is a hit, but we gotta recut the lead vocals at a good studio where the mic is that mic that we know is presents the vocals perfect. Because all those things could have been a trans a, a, tra- a, tra- a, tra- a tra- trans transcrepancy. All these things could be transcrepancies that throw off the good hit. And the record label knew. They knew this. They've already dropped so much music, and they know, okay, the radio stations like when it's mixed at this level and the vocals hitting here and the instruments are there and this, that, the other. So we're going to do that again. Now, everything's digital. Everybody has their own systems. Everybody's making music their own way. There's so many different kinds of formulas that can work, and it's the internet, and it doesn't necessarily have hardened format that needs to, like back in the day, it was CD had to be at this quality, or vinyl this distance or this thickness or whatever. All those things, there was an actual format for everything. You couldn't just send in your music. Even now, if you know, as an engineer or someone who's producing music, okay, well, I still need to do it this bit rate at this I ain't trying to, I'm trying to say something, but I'm getting flustered by trying to be technical. And I don't really care about trying to be technical right now. I want to get up the point. Okay. The point is, music has gone down, not because the taste for music has gone down, because people still like classical, jazz, and all those genres are still pushing boundaries. There's artists you can listen to their albums sounding like the greatest stuff that's ever been made by any humans ever in the history of humanity. But at the same time, the boundaries for why we need music has expanded, but the importance for why we like music has decreased. So the importance of music is decreasing. Its use cases is increasing. So there's like more use cases, but they're all like low value. They it's like, could have just used an AI song. Like, there's no real importance, cultural significance to this artist being highlighted in this music video or in this commercial, this, that, for my childhood or for my adulthood or for a memory or for nostalgic purpose. Like, all those things are starting to dissipate, all those kinds of things. And I don't think it's just dissipating for my generation because I'm getting older. These kids aren't having some of the experiences that our grandparents had, that we had, that our parents had. Like, these kids, they're not having it. They're not connecting like that with music. They're not getting that type of satisfaction of like the beauty. Okay, so the best way I could say this is, like, there's songs that are popular because they're popular and they're like funny, they're catchy and stuff like that. Then there's every once in a while there's like a record or a song or a moment that is just beautiful. That is just like beautiful. Whether it's a piece of orchestral music used in a commercial that's like a very popular McDonald's commercial, or commercial that's played in every syndicated channel on the planet, so everybody's hearing it all at the same time. Back when television might have been like the main media consumption source, but now you have that beautiful song and everybody on TV land taking it in, but then you have 60% of the other rest of the people taking in something else on the internet. So it's not going to translate and have that unifying, beautiful moment that music provides to a community. And because you're not having that communal experience, and there's no communal, beautiful experiences with music, it's just turning this whole thing into like a joke. Like, the frequencies that are even intelligible, or like, yeah, is that the word? Like, that people can even recognize in their brains, is nothing beautiful. It's all like, darling, take my hand, dum dum dum. Jet 2. You and your family should take a Jet 2 trip to dum 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 dum. Like, those are the moments that you know what I'm saying? That like everybody has locked in their psyche. When people talk about this lives rent free in my head. Bro, you know how many beautiful moments live rent free in my head that are shared with people my age? Because, TV, it was TV and radio. That's it. TV, radio. If it's not TV, it's the movies. If it's not radio, it's like a CD. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's very, very what it is. You're getting the CDs at HMV, right? You're getting the movies at Blockbuster or Rogers Video, Jumbo Video, whatever, right? So the process, the experience, the experience of even getting to the product is the same for everyone. get in the car, drive to the local theater or drive to the local this or what. Like, experience of buying product now can be so. I could be on a toilet while I'm buying something on Amazon, or we could be in the Starbucks and you're telling me about something and I buy it there off of your iPad, or we could be in store and tap with our phone, or there's so many different ways to buy the same thing. So even the experience of getting the same product is not going to be the same. Okay. Well, how does that change, or what does that mean for the market, right? If the market is not unified in its experience or in the products that it's going for, then its entertainment can't be like, there's no, like, the messaging, the way you can kind of like throw subliminals or just try and be creative in the whole, like, the idea that the ears are hearing things at all times, right? Oh, in 24 hours, my ear has heard 24 hours worth of stuff, right? What is the 24 hours worth of stuff that my ear is hearing? How can I play into that? Can I refer back to a moment by recalling a sound and making that sound, allowing my ear, when it hears that sound, to recall a moment from that day? If I make the ring sound, ring, will my ear think lunchtime, lunch ring bell, or will it think cell phone, pick up the phone, someone's calling? What experience did my ears have so that when I make that sound, what is it relating back to? Okay. I hope I'm starting, like, the idea is starting to get to you, right? You're starting, like, oh, like these markers are in the brain based on this experience. So I'm able to create a huge moment for everyone because we've all shared similar or the same markers by having the same experience day after day, day to day, going to this water park and going here. Like, we all went to that water park, and we all went to this swimming hole, and we all went to this campsite for camping, summer camp, and we all went here. But if there's so many alternative realities and experiences that now, as a music creative, I can't even make that moment, right? All the billions of people on the world, they were all experiencing similar technology or similar experiences because of the lack of technology. So now when I drop my song saying, and we went to summer camp and we swung on the rope and jumped into the pool or jumped into the lake, everybody has that experience because there's no iPads to compete with it. There's no Twitch to compete with it. There's no TikTok and Instagram and Gmail and Netflix, and, like, there's an AI. Like, there's so many intersections of intersections and intersections towards the intersections of the intersections of the intersections. Like, the division is uncanny. And that's just the lyrical part. That's just talking about, like, the lyrical part of music, in a sense, even though I was referring it to the actual music of music and saying that, oh, we're not hearing certain classical musics in all the same movie. So now if I sample that classical piece in a beat, no one really recognizes it because not everybody saw that movie, right? There's people who are like, oh my gosh, the performance in Euphoria. Oh my gosh, Sydney Sweeney or whatever her name is. I haven't even watched Euphoria. I have not watched one episode of that. I don't even feel like I'm missing out. You get what I'm saying? I don't feel like I'm missing out. That's like an award-winning show created by, co-produced by Drake and all that stuff. And, like, bro, I have not watched a single episode. Okay, you get what I'm saying? Like, the cultures are, like, mainstream culture is not even mainstream to like, it's not even mainstream. Like, mainstream culture is underground because it's still struggling to get those type of numbers, and the world is on a bigger stage now. You need a billion. Back in the day, you just need a million or a few million or 100,000 and stuff like that. Now you got to have a billion, whether it's in $1 billion in investment or a billion views. You're not big unless you're a Billy. Billy is the new Millie. No one cares about, oh, I got a million. Yo, I have a music video with 6 million views, bro. No one cares. No one in my city cares about that. Nobody in my family cares about it. Nobody cares. I don't even care Who cares? 6 million views? No one cares about that. Now, if I had 6 billion views, bro, no one could talk to me. No one could talk to me, bro. Like, I honestly, right? And the fact that that is the context versus saying, well, how on the scale are you talented? Like, how can you play the flute in every scale and every key signature and at what speed? What's the fastest BPM or the tempo? What's the fastest tempo that you can do this warm up at? Like, you know, like that's a real music conversation. That's a real conversation of like, what have you accomplished in music? Okay, well, I can play in every key at this speed and this that. I could sing this many octaves before my voice gives out. I can hold my breath for this long, or I can I can sustain a note and sing the note for 1 minute, full minute, or whatever. Like, actual skills, actual chops, and then figuring out ways to bring those chops into the art form to live forever. So now, instead of breathing, I'm gonna sing this whole 1 minute song without taking a breath, and I'm gonna do it live and present it in a format in the metaverse so that listeners will come and watch me and can verify on the blockchain. Like, that's what technology and music's supposed to be doing. Trying to, like, oh my gosh, no, like, because they showed the technology that every time he takes a new breath, it's connected to an apparatus that generates and mints a new coin anytime he breathes. So we know that he didn't mint any new coins, so that was authenticated as an actual full singing the 1 minute song without taking a breath or whatever it is. Like, there's people who walk underwater for 5 minutes, hold their breath for 5 minutes. So I'm just saying, like, the achievements of music, like the fact that this is still just two little earbuds is like the standard for music is pitiful. In visuals, we have HD, 4K, 8K, 12K. You know what I'm saying? Goggles, this, like 3D. Like, I get it. We live with our eyes before we live with our ears. But even for a smell, there's like all type of advancements with the new. I don't know if they're here. If I have them here, I have them here. Okay, I don't have them here, but they're like stuff like you this and you put it in your nose, you know, and it just like, there's so many advancements. I'm not saying there's no advancements in music and sound, because clearly there, like, you see the speakers behind me, like, obviously it's just, I kind of find it disappointing when you see your art form going backwards and you see other art forms going forward. Okay, I don't see them going backwards with glasses, and now, like, people are not using contacts, they're going back to the old glasses or using the old bifocals or whatever. No, they're going forward and forward. Now they have the contacts, you don't even have to take them out. They can full-time wear them, or all types of new and better, building on the technology of old. What's happening in music other than like new plugins and things for the technicians? What's happening in the actual forefront of music that's pushing the genre forward? That's actually saying, like, yo, these singers are singing better. Like, they actually are taking, like, there's people who can do the dual tone where you sing a low note and a high note at the same time. Then we had the Layla Hathaway moment, right? Where her and the Robert Glasper, or was it Robert Glasper? And she did it in a live performance. It was normally only folk music we were seeing that. So that was pretty dope to see soul music take something from folk and implement it for like the progression of music. And I'm not saying that musicians and that whole scene is not evolving within itself, because it definitely are. Like, you could hear the drummers now and the cellist and all those guys are way more talented in terms of the top tier musicians than the previous generation of top tier musicians, and so on and so forth. And that's a debate in itself. But I think, like, the internet has socialized that aspect to grow. But the business behind it to push those artists, or to figure out ways of presenting it. Like, Snarky Puppy was a great example, right? We used they had the headphones, the video of everybody just listening to jazz music, progressive jazz, fusion, in headphones. When you could only normally hear that live at an event, but it's not going to be quality as that, because you're not getting the flute and everything in a balanced mix. If you're sitting in this part of the room, you're going to hear the mix based on the acoustics of this part of the room. If you're at the front or if you're at the back with the sound men are doing the sound for the entire room based on where they're standing as sound men. So this is now pretty like interesting progression where the musicians are performing around you, so there probably is some type of room acoustics of sound that you're hearing, but the main piece is from these headphones that is being live mixed by the Snarky Puppy engineers and producers or whatever the case may be, right? Stuff like that. That to me is music trying to push the boundaries and growing and evolving, but it's not enough. It happens once on its own, and then that's it for a hot minute. And I'm like, this should be happening every day. This should be the whole point of it. Like everyone in the game, like not just Snarky Puppy and like everyone should be trying to revitalize and figure out ways of presenting the art form again and again and again. Because when we don't, we leave it to the run-of-the-mill industry that sees music as something to put in the background. We have a movie, can we use your music and put it in the background? Like, they're not trying to present the music. They're just using the music to present whatever they're doing, which puts artists in a worse position now, because now you're thinking like, okay, well, I can make a music video, but people also hear music in movies. So what's going to be better? Trying to get my music in my music video or trying to get my music in that movie? It's literally made the sync game, which is weird. It's positioned the sync game to be a greater value for success than actually just releasing your music. So someone wants to use your music, that's more of a success than the fact that you created it and now you're releasing it as the artisan. I made it, I created it, I released it, but now you want to use it and put it in your movie? Oh my gosh, that's the greatness. How? You're the world premiere. You released it. You are the artisan. How could someone else wanting to use it for their movie or their television show or video game be more important than the fact that you, the artisan, created it? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So it started off with like, okay, we can't have the OGs can't even be making them ugly faces anymore, because the whole game is ugly faces. The OGs sound like that. The OGs is the ugly faces. If anything, just youngins could be looking at OGs like, why y'all sound so like that? Because you have young phenoms like Slim Wave, I think that's his name, Slim Wave, right? Who's playing keys and bass and drums for everyone on tour. That brother is definitely talented. I could see him being able to look at someone else's performance and be like, I doubt he would, because the time and the tone that we're in, that would be, But come on, man. I know for a fact Stevie Wonder and Herbie Hancock and Prince for sure, they was making ugly faces at people who was playing the wrong note or basic progression or didn't do, like they just didn't hear advanced musicality. They would be like, ew, what are you doing here? This is for the greatest, for the best of the best. It's just like if you play ball, you go to the finals and you see someone who can't even like dribble through the legs. They're dribbling and losing the ball, right? They go in to pass the ball and they fumble and all kinds of stuff. You'd be like, what's this person? What is he doing here? They go for a layup. They're missing every layup. You'd be like, what are they doing here? And then someone they're good at free throws. Someone comes to you and say, oh, yo, no, they're really good at free throws. You'd be like, what? Good at free throws? Bro, we used to make fun of Shaq because that was the only thing he couldn't do. Shaq was dominating the paint. He can't like dribble and cross people, but he could dribble and stuff like that. But he couldn't shoot. And he would be made fun of for that. So we're coming from that era where our goats could be made fun of for not being perfect, to this era where the goats are expected not to be perfect, bro. Like I don't know, man.